Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. I recently had the great honor of hanging out virtually with Kenny G. That's right, the Kenny G. For those who don't know, my good friend Ryan Devlin and myself recently started a podcast called The Hang. With this podcast, what we're doing is just, like it says, hanging out and chatting with people in the music space. We don't want it to be like a stuffy interview type thing. It's just like people hanging out before a gig, during the set break, after, or just hanging out with friends, and that's the vibe we're going for. We have a new YouTube channel where you can watch the episodes. I'll put the link to that below, and you can also check it out on Apple and Spotify podcasts. In the first episode, we hung out with the owner of Boston Sax Shop, Jack Tyler, and in the second episode that dropped yesterday, Thursday, April 4th, we hung out with Kenny G. I'm not going to go into all the details about what we talked about in the 2-hour conversation. You can go and check that out for yourself. But at some point, I was singing Kenny G's song In the Rain to him, and he was kind of singing it back, and it was pretty funny. Check it out. I can sing it to you. Da 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 da. And then at one part, da 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 da. And you go up to the high F sharp later, and it's just like,
that chord right there.
That was just one of many incredible moments in that conversation. He talked about when he got his first gig with Barry White, when he was opening up for Miles Davis and what Miles thought of his music, specifically the song Songbird. Spoiler alert, Miles loved Songbird. That's right. There's so much great stuff in there, and I highly recommend you go check it out. But there are a few main things he talked about in that conversation that really struck a chord with me, and I want to share them with you in this video. Because my videos are usually me teaching you something and helping you along in your jazz improvisation or saxophone journey, I'm not going to be doing that in this video specifically because I'm talking about some lessons I learned from Kenny G, but I do still want to give you something. I have a completely free voice leading masterclass called The Best Way to Create Melodic Solos. So many people come up to me and they say, how do I create more lyrical solos? How do I play solos that connect better? I know some licks, I know some lines, and I'm playing over the chords, but it doesn't sound like it connects together. Well, this masterclass is focused on my 6-step, really simple voice leading process. I promise you, it's not overwhelming. It's a 40-ish minute video along with a PDF with a bunch of pages that has some sample lines. It has all the voice leading steps and all that, and I go through it in detail in that video, and it's completely free to you. The only thing you need to do to get it is go to davepollack.com/free masterclass, and I'll put a link to that at the top of the description down below and in the pinned comment. Enjoy that, go grab it, go watch it, and start making your solos better today. So the first main lesson I want to talk about from Kenny G is to never stop learning. Kenny, to this day, practices his saxophone 3 hours every single day, every morning, no matter what. And this isn't just like, oh, I'm practicing for my gig tonight type stuff. He said that he's practicing licks. He's transcribing things that he hears online. He literally goes on Instagram and scrolls through until he finds some people playing. He might not even know who they are. And he'll listen to a line and he'll like either download it or just listen to it over and over. And he learns that, and that'll be his session for the day. I think that's amazing. And that's great to see that someone who's been playing for as long as he has is still out there listening to younger people play, newer people, and trying to learn every single day. The really cool thing is he's not only just practicing for his own style of music that he plays, he's listening to all different types of stuff and trying to incorporate that into his playing, or at least practice it so he can understand it better. That's one of the things that's so cool about the situation with him knowing Ryan Devlin so well, is he just found him on Instagram and came across him playing and was like, wow, this is cool. He's playing all these wrong notes. I want to find out what he's doing. And he sat there and learned some of Ryan's lines and transcribed them and transposed them in 12 keys. It's really amazing. And I can't say enough about how inspiring that is to hear from someone like him who's had the amount of success that he's had over the amount of years. And he's still practicing, he's still learning, he's trying to get better every single day. I think we can all learn a lot from him on that. The second thing that stuck out to me when talking with Kenny is he treats every performance like Carnegie Hall. And basically what he's saying is every time he plays, whether it's a performance on stage, whether it's a smaller performance for someone, whether it's a recording, he treats it like it's the most important thing in the world. He doesn't just phone anything in and say, whatever, I'm Kenny G. I'm just going to collect the money and whatever, I don't care. No, he really, truly cares about every performance and recording that he puts out. And he really talked about how he takes so much care to craft the best thing that he can make. So if he has a chance to like do a bunch of takes and really fix notes and make it as perfect as possible, he's going to do that. If it's a live performance, he's going to practice so much to the point where he knows he's going to nail it on stage because the people that are watching deserve that. He feels like that's how he needs to be in the world. And that's just kind of what he has always done his entire life, his entire career, is treat every performance like it's the most important thing. So many times musicians can just get complacent and we say, well, this gig doesn't pay that much. There's not that many people in the audience, blah, 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 blah. I've done this a million times. I don't really care, blah, blah, blah. The musicians aren't as good as me. We get this kind of ego thing and it's like, why are we doing this? Either take the gig or don't. If you take the gig, you should treat it like it is the most important thing. Is every gig as important as the next one? No, I'm not saying it is. But if you treat every gig like it is that important, I think you'll raise your own musicianship. You'll give a better performance to everybody out there. And yes, selfishly, there might be someone listening out there who might then hire you for something else or book you for something because you put yourself out there at a very high level. The final lesson from Kenny that I'm going to talk about in this video, and by the way, there were way more than 3 things I could have talked about. I just wanted to focus on these 3. Is I think the most important thing, and that is to always be true to yourself. Now, in this situation, we're obviously talking about playing music that's true to you and accepting certain situations that are true to you. But I think it's so incredibly important to hear that from someone like Kenny G. Because let's face it, you've seen articles, you've heard things said about him in a not so positive light, and people that might not understand what he's doing, or even if they think they do understand, they hate it so much they feel like they need to attack him or his fans or something like that. He played music that sounded good to him. He wrote music that sounded good to him. He plays with musicians that he's friends with. One of the musicians in his band was literally his high school buddy that he played in band with and has been in his band since then, 50 years ago, which is amazing to hear. But he's always true to himself. No matter what other people say about his music, about the way he goes about things, he did it the way he wanted. And he said, that's kind of just, I got lucky that it happened to work out. He didn't try to just chase what people wanted him to do. Because if he wanted to just chase other things, oh, you should play more fusion, you should play more fast stuff, you should play more crazy this. Oh, then he's going to start chasing that other thing. And then the goalposts are always going to be moving. If you're always trying to do something that other people want you to do, if they're doing it, they're saying it in a negative light, they're going to find ways to just hate and be negative no matter what. So if they say to you, you should really be playing faster. Okay, you start playing faster, then you start practicing that because they say so. Then you start playing faster all the time. They're going to say, well, now you're not playing with enough soul. Okay, I'm going to play with more soul, whatever that is. And you know what I mean? You're never going to get to the finish line. You're never going to just satisfy whoever you're trying to satisfy. If you're always true to yourself and you're doing what you want to do in the way you want to do it, that's, I think, the greatest thing that you can do. If it happens to work out and you become, the best-selling instrumentalist of all time and you sell 75 million albums, that's amazing. But, if it doesn't work out that way, you're still going to be happy with the process. And if you really dedicate your time and dedicate and put hard work in, put those hours in over days and months and years, there will be a positive result no matter what in the end. All right, so those are 3 lessons that really stuck out to me from Kenny G, from hanging out with him for about 2 hours. And I highly recommend you go check out that entire podcast video because it's really an incredible conversation. We talk about so many different topics. Once again, that's all going to be linked in the description down below. Don't forget to check out my free masterclass called The Best Way to Create Melodic Solos if you want to get better at improvising. Even if you're already a competent improviser, I know this masterclass is going to help you because even when I wrote it and I was going through it and putting together the PDF and the script and everything, even just practicing some of the exercises I was talking about, I felt myself legitimately getting better. I know that's like, of course you're going to say that you did it, but no, I literally, going through the process, I'm like, wow, I forgot what it was like to go through that. I needed a refresher. That might be you. Check the masterclass out. It's completely free. There's no paywall to get to the masterclass or anything. So go to davepollack.com/free masterclass for that. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.